Hi folks, hope you're doing well. Right, I'm just going to talk about something that was a bit disturbing earlier. No surprise really when I heard it. It was Judy Hartley-Brewer that was talking about to somebody when they were talking about the storming of the Capitol. They started talking about the things that they found out since, or has been discovered since, such as there was a pretty heavy armed militia there. Okay, not good, obviously, but not a surprise really, seeing as Trump was asking for that really for years. But the worst thing they said was Trump was. One second. Go and lay down. I'm doing a video. Go and lay down, Lucy. God, you're laying down all this time. As soon as I start talking, she gets up and starts shaking. Yeah. Penny ass. Lay down, Bubba girl. I'll get to you in a minute, all right? Let me finish this first and I'll get to you. Yes? And the fluff is on my bed with his bum right where I lay my head. Chewie, what are you doing on my bit of bed? Wait. No worries, he's just laying there. His towel's wagging there. Yeah. Your towel is right where my head would be, you nutter. Don't you dare do any body bumps right there. I don't need breathing them in during the night, do I? Anyway, yes. Yeah, the worst bit was Trump was cheering, apparently. He was cheering on the people storming the Capitol, going in there as all the senators and all the rest are fearing for their safety. Trump was apparently cheering them on, getting quite excited and giddy at the scenes he was watching. Which again, is that any real surprise? I mean, seriously? Would anybody really be surprised at hearing this? The one thing that I really don't get in any way, shape or form, is that why on earth his supporters are still backing him. I mean, how moronic can you get? And this is where some of those people are complete bloody morons. They have to be complete morons. The president has been encouraging you to go and do that, storming the Capitol, for basically 4 years, telling you that if he loses the election, it will be because it's been stolen, because they cheated you out of it, right? So if that happens, you've got to take your country back, right? You've got to stop the vote, blah, 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 blah. All these nasty rhetorics that Trump's been coming out with. He's been encouraging you to do that. He's cheering you on, and he then goes on telly slagging you off as if you are sick individuals who did everything against his will completely. Yeah, he, the president, never asked you to do that. He only asked you to march, and then you took it so much further, which was quite disgusting of you. It's a heinous. It's the word he used, heinous. He called you heinous, basically. Pretty much. It's not just Trump. The Republicans did that. They were coming out, cheering this on, backing their leader. Interesting thing. If Trump was cheering this on while it's happening, and he was doing that in the White House, in one of the main areas of the White House, I'd imagine that would have been recorded. I would imagine it would have been recorded when his people were pleading with him to go out and say something against his supporters doing this. Now, any of that stuff can therefore be used against him in a trial. I said, I personally would advise the families of those people, if I could, who died, to sue Trump and to sue Rudy Giuliani and all these people. Sue them. Get everything you can from them. Destroy these people and their families. Just destroy them. They didn't care whether they destroyed you. They didn't care in any way, shape, or form. They are dangerous people. Very, very dangerous people. And their families, therefore, have to be considered as dangerous. Look at it from even a Christian point of view or a spiritual point of view. When God saw that David and God's people were being attacked by the Philistines, God told David to kill every one of the Philistines, to kill every single one of them. Women, children included. David didn't do that. Now, to a certain degree, that's why you now have Islam, because David didn't do that. Well, that is certainly within the realm of possibilities. Yeah. Well, the Philistines are pretty much the descendants of Cain, aren't they? So, yeah. But David was told to kill them, every single one of them. He didn't do it. Why? Because they were a threat. Now, of course, Trump's family, you've got to say major threats. Major threats. They would have been whispering in their dad's ear during all this time. Don't kill them. No. Don't do that. Don't cause any physical harm to them in any way, shape, or form. But certainly sue them. Take every penny. Take everything. Make him sell all his golf courses, all of his hotels, everything. Destroy them, the family, in that way. Take everything they've got. Crush them. So Trump, for all his time in office, didn't care less the damage he does to America. He couldn't care less. All the damage you've got places like Flint who have major problems, to say the least, with drinking water. And what does Flint need? Flint needed a very, very strong EPA to stop companies from putting crap into the system, or for doing fracking. Fracking had to stop. But what did Trump do? He put someone in charge of the EPA who hated the EPA, who actively fought against the powers of the EPA in the past. Did he care for those people in those areas? Nope. Trump showed disdain to the people in those areas. What about the wall? A lot of his supporters are supporters of the wall. Okay, a lot of those supporters end up losing their homes because their homes were taken, quite cheaply, so that the wall could go through their land, or through what was their land. Because that's the problem with a wall. You want a wall in the south. Anyone who lives in an area is going to potentially have that wall going through their grounds. They're going to lose their home, potentially. They're going to certainly lose some of their grounds. That's the reality of wanting a bloody wall. Going right around the border is that if your home is anywhere near the border, you've got a problem. If you're going to see that wall, or you won't see it because your home is going to be taken completely by that wall. And your home is now in Mexico. So did Trump care? Nope. Not in any way, shape, or form. What about industry? What about the fact that in these deep south areas, farming was struggling because, farming struggles. Certainly, if we do have a global warming situation, then farming is going to struggle, isn't it? It's going to struggle a bit. So, yeah. Did he help them? Nope. Not really, no. He didn't care. With Trump, it's all about rhetoric. It was all about blaming the other side. It was all about blaming Obama. It was all about blaming the Democrats. It was all about blaming Hillary. All about blaming those people in power that aren't supporting him. And yet, his supporters are still backing Trump. Are they going to take him on? Yeah, the families of the people that died? Probably not. No, I don't think they will. Are the authorities going to take him on for inciting this? Maybe. If they do, hopefully they will have all of the evidence from the White House to use in the trial. Hopefully the FBI and whoever else is supposed to do that has made sure that all those recordings are kept safe, that they cannot be destroyed, because obviously what's Trump going to want to do? To say the least, this is Trump's Watergate. Really is. I mean, 4 people are dead because he incited a crowd to go storm the Capitol. So therefore, any recordings that suggest that Trump was implicit or was actually enjoying this would have to be deleted, wouldn't they? So what's the betting that we're going to have a situation a few months from now when we start hearing about recordings from the White House being deleted around the time of this, when this was happening? Is that likely to be? Yeah, quite likely. Yeah, it is going to be quite likely that Trump is at least going to try to get those recordings deleted, if there are recordings, which there must be. Partly because the president must be protected. So everything has to be recorded. Everything has to be recorded that goes on in there. Some things will be counted as national security, so therefore they can't be released. But the president cheering while his supporters storm the Capitol, I don't think that's going to be something that will be counted as national security. Not when that president is no longer the president anymore. At the moment, it would be national security, because if that come out, there could be a riot on the White House. Yeah. There could be people all over America demanding that the president is arrested. Or worse could happen. So it needs to be once he's no longer president, but it's only 9 days, isn't it? About 9 days. So yeah, I haven't got long to wait. So we just need to be patient, and well, as I've said in videos recently, it is a case where we need to start seeing consequences being dealt out, and certainly for people like Trump, busy for all that time encouraging people, to go and do that for years, not just for a few weeks, not just for that few weeks since the election. Really, since the last election, he's been building this up to this point, intentionally, pushing the crowd. So, it's crazy situation. I mean, we know with Trump that Trump's a liar, so Trump's going to try to lie his way out of it. One thing that's quite funny recently, there was a comedian. It's one of these talk show people, but they were doing this bit about the fact that obviously the inauguration would have to be cancelled or at least toned down massively because of COVID. And then they said, well, Biden won't be the first president that's had a social distancing inauguration. And they showed the photos, the actual photos of Trump's inauguration with the massive amounts of spaces where there was nobody. And yet Trump afterwards told everyone he had the biggest crowd ever at his inauguration, which no, he did not. His crowd was about a fifth of the size of Obama's. But to Trump, that's the biggest crowd ever. Because Trump guesses that you can't look at the evidence. And if you do look at the evidence, that's going to have to be fake news, isn't it, really? Yeah. Just label it as fake news and it'll go away. Just keep on telling. That was the whole idea of keep on telling CNN and all the rest that weren't on his side that they were fake news, because then anything they said could just be pushed away. It meant nothing. Yeah, and the problem is his supporters supported that. Supported a silencing of the press. Now, would they support the same if Biden did that to Fox News? Would Trump supporters be okay with that? If Biden kept on just saying that as soon as Fox News tried to say something, fake news, don't listen to them. Right, you Fox News, right, you're just fake news, don't even bother asking. Okay, bye-bye. If Biden was doing that to them, you'd think he was out of order. Treating them like that. Obviously, if Trump was doing it, that was fine. That's why I say, these supporters are like that. I mean, you are incredibly moronic. If you don't see that being a complete and utter hypocrite is bang out of order, then, especially you claim to be a Christian, but complete and utter hypocrisy isn't a problem for you, is it? Really? Not a problem in any way, shape, or form. You keep on doing it every single time your lot is in power. Whatever they do is okay. Every single time the other lot is in power, whatever they do is out of order. I mean, come on. Think for a second. Use your brains. Do you never actually hear yourself saying things? Do you never actually bother to listen to what you say? I had someone on the Julie Hartley Brewer one earlier. Greg Swenson. He's a Republican living in the UK. And he was basically saying the rogue crowd or the rogue group should be punished for what they did. But saw no problem really with a rogue president. Trump incited it. Greg even accepted, Trump incited it. And that was a mistake on Trump's part, is what he was saying. Is that, excuse me, a mistake? How do you view that as a mistake? That's what Julie Hartley Brewer said to him. Excuse me, a mistake. A mistake is, forgetting that you're brewing your tea. And nowadays you go back, you've got cold tea. That's a mistake. Inciting people to riot and to storm the Capitol buildings, that's not a mistake. But this is what you get. These people just don't seem to have any common sense, because guarantee if a Democrat had done that and this Greg Swanson person, come on, or Swenson, his surname is Swenson. But if a Republican had done anything like it, he would be coming on shouting blue murder. You're demanding that Congress does everything in their power to hold this person accountable. They would be demanding that whatever that thing 20, whatever it's called, where his cabinet can say he's unable to perform his duties and get rid of him. He'd be demanding all of that. All of that. But when it's Trump, no. He's basically saying, best thing we can do is just calm things down. You wouldn't be saying that if it was Democrats. You wouldn't be saying that if it was Democrats. Not in any way, shape, or form. Now, to me, organisations like Talk Radio shouldn't be having these people on. If these people are so brain dead when it comes to what their own side is doing, they shouldn't be given a platform to speak. Don't give people a platform to speak unless they are actually being fair and able to reason. Stupidity shouldn't be given a platform. It always is. Come on, I'm not just saying the right do it, the left are the same. The left are going to be the same. It's like, Biden looks as if he's going to be incredibly woke. He's already made some promises that he's going to, I can't remember what it was, he's going to focus on black, lesbian, gay, and transgender stuff. Excuse me, we've already got a complete extreme left wing doing that. What about you try and represent the rest of the people that aren't being represented? But no, yeah. And you'll get someone from the left come on who won't accept that that's wrong. Now, I think organisations like Talk Radio and BBC and all these others should say to these people, you're not coming on. If that's the best you can do, if that's who you are, you're not coming on. Sorry, it always gets me stuck. I look at this photo here. There's only one duvet on the floor. One duvet. This whole area from here all the way around to there, beyond there, is covered now. It's now up to about this height of duvets. Well, I say this height. You can't see this bit here anymore. That whole area there is duvets. So if she was on it now, she'd be up here. Her level would be up here somewhere. And that wasn't that long ago, because she's only 4 years old, Amber. 4 or 5 years old. She's not that old, so yeah. I mean, that bedding area has impressed a lot in the last 3 years, really. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. Yeah, it's yeah. Indeed. Yeah, did the President of the United States, was he cheering while this was going on? Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me at all, because these people were doing exactly what he asked them to do. Exactly what he's been asking them to do for the last 3 or 4 years. So was he cheering while they were doing it? Yeah. Quite likely. And hopefully that all comes out. If he was, hopefully that comes out. I mean, as I say, it's coming out now about the militia and how heavily armed they were. And that in itself is concerning. But again, the fact of the matter is they knew well in advance that Trump was going to be making this speech. Why? Because he'd been making this speech for a long time before then. So it's like a jack in the box, really, where the crowd, and again, this is to a certain degree, it is to a certain degree saying the crowd are idiots. Because you look at a jack in the box. A jack in the box doesn't really have any say as to whether it's going to pop out once it's been wound up, right? But it seems like a lot of these supporters of Trump, I like jack in the boxes, really. They're wound up and wound up and wound up, and bang, they have to go off. They can't help themselves. But I think that's people in general, isn't it, really? Isn't that people in general? If you wind them up enough, they're going to snap. Yeah, they're going to go off, aren't they? And Trump knew what he was doing. He knew he was going for these people from day one, from when he first started his election campaign 4 years ago. He was aiming for these people. He knew that they would be his base, and that was his aim, to get them. Yeah. Disturbing? Yeah. That's a lovely picture of Amber. Look at that. Look at that face. How can that face not be loved? Aye. All right, well, you take care. God bless. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.